Oh, excuse me. You can't hear. Can you hear me or can you not hear game audio? Can you hear the game audio though? I'm going to assume no. Okay. Okay. Hmm. How about that? Can you hear music now? Okay, cool. Great. All right. All right. Oh man. It's definitely been a while. I had to mess with everything. I couldn't get my webcam to show up, like, period. I have a million things that pop up for audio. So I'm getting used to this again. Is everything at least at a reasonable level? Like nothing's too loud or anything? Like how is my audio? Because my mic is over here and I'm not sure how well it's picking it up. So this is actually a text adventure game. So it's like a choose your own adventure type thing called Roadwarden. It was actually the very first game that I ever streamed, and I played a couple hours of it and then never got back into it, and I don't know why. I know I started trying to stream God of War, and so I just didn't come back to it. But it's really, yeah, I'm excited to get back into it because I didn't get super far. If that makes sense. Okay, all right. New game. Okay. Again, does all the sound for everything sound okay? Like I'm not actually using the mic from the headset. The headset is literally just for sound. I have my actual like mic over here. And since you're the only one on, you get to be my person. Game music or okay, hold on. Hold on, let me get into the settings, or let me get into here and then... How is that? Is that better? Is the music not as loud now? Okay, alright, cool. I will save. Main menu. Yes, we'll start this over. Okay. Alright, official starting now. If I'd known I was gonna spend like the first like half an hour messing around with stuff, I would have started this a lot sooner. Everyone knows to stay away from the wilderness. Most people would never risk a lonely journey. Roadwardens not only accept the struggle, they embrace it. They deliver messages, assist merchants, burn human corpses, and, if possible, get rid of the beasts and highwaymen. They live on the road, die young, or retire early. It's a dangerous job, but a respectable one, and it pays well. I will leave the safety of the city walls. I'm gonna go ahead and go with standard, give myself a time limit. God only knows that can't give me any stress at all. Alright. The wall is still standing. There are no wolves around, no stench of blood. Good signs. This should be the place you're looking for. You were supposed to meet with a group of soldiers, but you hear no voices, no sounds of labor. The gate is ajar, but the camp isn't safe. It may keep away the goblins and peddlers, but not beast folk nor trolls, and the night is near. Your palfrey breathes heavily. It had a long day. So I do remember this from last time. The palfrey is the mount. So mule, horse, something like that. I don't remember if it's... Do I have archives yet? No. Journal! Bestiary. Oh, it does show up. Does my palfrey not, like... Nope, I don't think palfrey shows up yet. Maybe it will in a bit. Okay. So I'm going to look around cautiously, and I love this part. So you only see what you've been given information for. So like I can only see the outside of whatever this is. So I can only see the fence around it because I've not gone inside yet. So I need to look around cautiously. Considering... This is professional, 100%. Promise. Considering the noise, you doubt that anyone noticed the clatter of hooves. The short, dry grasses barely cover the arid soil of the valley. But you're maybe a minute away from the edge of the sparse woods. Right, exactly. Which get denser as they climb up the hills. At best, this trail has a few more years before getting overgrown for good. Hard to believe it's the only route north. Sneak? Sneaky sneak? I want to peek inside. So I have, this also fills up more as well. So it's 30 minutes before dusk, and then take care of yourself. If you're hurt or exhausted, some actions won't be available to you. The weaker you are, the higher the chance you'll die in combat. So I feel well. Vitality 3 out of 4. That's a good sign. Your heavy boots hit the ground, and the pain of the long ride finally catches up with you. You stretch out, bringing your back and legs comfort. All you want now is a table, a decent chair, a nice mug of beer, and some warm stew. With any luck, your axe won't be needed here. Again, totally professional, excuse me. I approach the gate slowly. And so now, as you see, it actually opens up, because now I'm inside. It's a military camp. It doesn't look the part. Plenty of wasted space. The fire pit is cold. 2 people are sitting at the table, tired and disheartened. They're looking in different directions, paying no attention to one another. One of them is holding a cup. After a moment, you notice the quiet humming. You recognize the melody of a lighthearted drinking song from the city harbor. I think I can click on these highlighted things. Nope, can I not? Oh. Well, that opened that up. I feel like I could do something with like these highlighted parts, but maybe I can't yet. Welcome, whoever hopped on. Just getting into the game, so I've not gotten very far. Had a little bit of technical difficulties. They don't look like much of a threat. I'm going to enter. It takes him a few breaths to glance in your direction. The first person greets you with a wave of his hand. There are bags under his eyes. His beard is messy. Despite his simple shirt, he's wearing durable, decent boots. A mace with a head covered in iron hangs at his side, but he doesn't reach for it. Look at the second soul. Just like you, she's wearing a gambeson, but hers is a bit loose, as if she took it off a corpse. Her head is shaven, as if she's protecting herself from flesh-eating bugs. Her eyes are weary yet kind. She smiles. Considering the squad was sent here half a year ago, these 2 surely look the part, though there should be more of them. 8, you believe. I'm going to ask about their lieutenant. Wonder how to phrase your question. So whenever you meet new people, you can influence how they perceive you by selecting one of the attitudes. So vulnerable, intimidating, distanced, playful, or friendly. I'm going to start off friendly. I was hoping to meet with your lieutenant. Could we talk for a bit? The woman lets out a loud sigh, dusts off her gambeson. So you should remember, this was the very first game I ever streamed. It's called Roadwarden. So it's like a choose your own adventure kind of thing. So it's text-based, it's an RPG. Yeah. So this is it. But I'm very curious. Oh no, it is a horse. Never mind. Okay, I thought the palfrey wasn't a horse, but maybe it is. It's been a long time since I've been super into horses, so it legitimately might be. The woman lets out a loud sigh, dusts off her gambeson, and steps towards you. She pays little attention to the sword at her side. We most definitely can, you and I. I don't know. Deep inside, I think a horse girl is still there. I do. We most definitely can, you and I, though holding this rank is still somewhat new to me. Are you a messenger? Did you lose your mount? She observed you with curiosity. Or are you looking for help? I'm your new Roadwarden. My horse is waiting outside. Really? The soldier in the shirt leans forward. That explains how you got here in one piece, all by yourself. Better bring your beast here, adds the lieutenant. We have no hay, but I bet it dreams of dropping its saddle. A long pause. I'm Tulia, by the way. She reaches out her hand. I shake her hand. Must be a trap. Nah, I'm gonna be friendly. How do you want people to call you? Sinedra. Her grasp is confident. The shake is slight. Just keep your horse away from the tents. She steps away. We don't need to smell its dung. And there's this one issue, the soldier in the shirt. Too late. I've already named myself. Also rises to his feet. We have no tent to spare. You'll have to use a blanket or something. No problem. I enjoy observing the stars. Maybe not in real life. I would actually like shelter in real life, but you know, in a game, live a little vicariously. You walk through the gate. Your mount looks around and snorts anxiously. Not many humans could ride a horse. It's not only taller than you, but also bulky, as heavy as it is strong. You can get in the saddle within a single breath, but most people wouldn't know where to even begin. From every side, it's a wall of flesh. Horses were brought to the Dragon Woods from the conquests in the south. They can trot for a long time, but won't outrun some of the local monsters. Your palfrey needs you to survive, but without it, you too would be lost. It's my only companion here. I want it to feel at ease. It takes a few steps towards you, scolding you with another snort. You scratch the bottom of its neck. Yeah, its necks. It has multiple guys. We're talking about like a Cerberus horse here, or a Hydra. Obviously. You scratch the bottom of its neck with strength and confidence, just the way it likes it. Humans see useful animals and even pets as monsters in disguise. I'm not. I know better. Getting emotionally attached to them is believed to lead humans to their doom. Right, exactly. But you know that horses need companionship. I speak to it gently and lead it to the camp. You end up next to the fire pit. Removing the saddle makes the horse nicker with relief. You take a couple minutes to examine its back, just in case. While the riding equipment is not that heavy for such a strong animal, with enough time, it starts to chafe. You wish it had something better to eat than the shabby grass. You should look for an inn. What do you mean, are you a horse? I'm not sure I understand what you mean here. Oh. Then we're all horses. Then we are all horses. Need to unpack. You haven't brought that many things, and you lost one of the sacks while fleeing the Crimson Corpse Eaters. Worst of all, you have no rope left, but maybe the soldiers could share one. Shouldn't cost more than a dragon bone. Aside from the travel set, you own a few valuable possessions essential for your trade. Fighter, mage, or scholar. I do not remember which I picked last time. I feel like I went fighter last time, and I think I might as well. But I don't remember. Gonna quick save. Okay, so I can have combat equipment. I can be a mage and have a talisman to use my powers, or I can be a scholar. I have a writing instrument, alchemic ingredients. Yes, yeah, I'm actually on my PC this time. Thanks for hopping on, Riley. It took a lot of setting up. I actually started the stream, had difficulties, closed it, so I could deal with it. It's been a long time since I've gotten things set up so I could actually stream. Yes, and this is Roadwarden, so another new game. I'm not throwing my books at monsters. Okay, they're too valuable to me. So this is a text adventure game. Yeah, basically choose your own adventure kind of RPG. What I have played, I really dig it. It's been so long since I've played that I started completely over. And now I'm trying to decide what class I want to be. I want to learn more about the 3 classes. So I'll have an easier time in physical challenges. I'll have superior equipment, hidden bonuses during dice roll, physically more capable. So I'll have Numa. Is that how it's pronounced? Yes, welcome! Yes, so this is on my PC. I've still not gotten the PS5 camera set up. Like I told Riley, this is a text adventure game called Roadwarden. And I've not gotten very far in it. I have played it a little bit before, but that was a while ago. So I'm trying to decide, my class. I do not remember what I picked last time. I think I picked a fighter. But magic won't protect you better than a sharp axe, but as a mage, you'll be able to heal faster while resting, detect magic. Thank you. Distract beasts with simple tricks, find a common tongue with other magic users. Madeline. I'm trying to decide a class here. Using the mage's powers too freely will result in having no Numa left when you need it most. A scholar will know more about the world's mysteries than you, helping you take advantage of some unusual situations, impress the locals with knowledge, be able to read the sparse written clues without anyone's assistance. If you struggle with combat, with enough carefulness, you'll gain access to alchemical mixtures that will help you escape many dangerous situations. I'd want to go mage, but having a limited pool of Numa kind of worries me. You know what? I'm gonna live vicariously. I'm going with the mage. So, taking hits will damage your armor. You can fix it in various settlements. So, my armor is 2 out of 4 right now. My health is 3 out of 4. And it's 15 minutes before it gets dark. Right, I'm totally a rebel. Not at all. So I do have an inventory. Unless you're occupied with other tasks, you can eat food, drink potions, and use your items from this menu. Some items can have unusual applications. So I have food rations, a pouch with coins. I've got 5 coins. I've got a gambeson, magical amulets, travel set, and a simple battle axe. So that's all I have on hand at the moment. So I have a leather pendant with a single pearl covered with cryptic engravings. I can use it for simple tricks involving light. Clean linen bandages soaked in herbal balms, so I can heal. A couple wooden spears. They get warmer when put nearby an unusual amount of Numa. Didn't have to be in a box. Welcome! Oh my gosh, hi! So I see a lot of new people hopped on. Welcome. I am just getting started. Just picked my class. I'm going to be a mage. So I'm just kind of going through it. But I have a lucky button. I don't know what the lucky button does, but I have it. Okay, so you unpack and inspect your belongings. Right, yeah. Sailor Moon here. Your water skin isn't pierced. The spare clothes are still here, just in case you take a look at your wooden bowl and mug. Your cape, tinderbox, bandages, food rations, knife, nothing special or too cumbersome. From time to time, your routine helps you avoid mistakes, but this doesn't make it more exciting. I return to the soldiers. They're at the table again, observing your beast and chatting between themselves. Your stomach growls at the sight of them eating out of wooden bowls. One more bowl was put at a previously unused end of the table. You can sit down on a tree log. No, I'm gonna eat. If my stomach's growling, I'm hungry. I'm gonna join them. It's cold gruel, the meal eaten in times of hardship. This specific bowl is filled with water, hog millet, some strange-looking cereals, and blueberries. Welcoming you with a meal, even a humble one, is beyond their duty. Soldiers live with and for their companions, constantly on the move from one part of the realm to another, making sacrifices to protect their group as they faced dozens of hideous creatures. Their lives are filled with discipline, hardship, and camaraderie. Roadwardens, on the other hand, learn how to work by themselves. They seldom engage in open combat, patrolling the same roads for years. They help the settlement stay in touch, but also maintain commerce, settle down, forge friendships. When there are no laws to follow, they use their own judgment. Different responsibilities, different lifestyles. So keeping my stomach full will make me stronger. Starvation will allow me to restore health, and I do have food in my inventory. So I'm 2 out of 4 right now. I eat quickly, not focusing on the taste, then speak with Tulia. She focused and chooses her words carefully. She looks away only when she gathers her thoughts. I'm afraid I can tell you less than I would like to, and less than I should. She nods toward the other soldier. As you can see, there's not a lot of us left. At the beginning of summer, there were 8 of us, including our previous lieutenant. 5 are dead, 1 has run away in tears. We're also strangers in this land, adds her companion. Any piece of information may help me do my job. The man leans forward. His legs shake nervously. He sounds like a kid asking a bard to sing one more story, tell a joke, or do a magic trick, whatever it takes to escape from boredom. His untrimmed beard hides a much younger face than you originally thought. What did the officials tell you? Expect not much. No soul governs these lands. I share what I consider to be relevant. You tell the soldiers how little guidance you've received. Since the area is too far away from Havlavan to keep it under control, you were warned that it's untamed and unknown. Who knows how many villages, bandits, or monsters may be found in these unmapped hills and forests. From time to time, new people come here to look for boundless opportunities. Most of them never return. Do they turn into walking corpses, or find what they're looking for? No soul could tell me, so I was looking for your guidance. Lieutenant drinks from her cup and crosses her legs, ankle on knee. Seeing her chair makes you doubt she'll ever find a comfortable position. Where should we start? And as you can see, there are a ton of options. I remember this beginning part is a little dialogue heavy, but there is so much to this. And I definitely could use a refresher. What should I know about the peninsula? I'll tell you what I know, and you'll be the judge, says the lieutenant. How long did it take you to get here from the city? On a decent palfrey, I'd guess it would be 3 to 4 days. When you confirm, she continues. From here, you can reach the coast in about a day, as long as you don't make any stops. Do you know the situation? Why no ships can get here? You nod. The sea routes allowed Havlavan officials to keep in touch with the coastal villages, collect taxes, move the soldiers, collect lumber, deliver tools, but maintaining order on a wild coast, such as this one, is like filling the ocean depths with coins. Because of the rocks, you can hardly stop a ship 5 miles from the shore, and boats can't get much closer. She nods. I don't know much about fishing, but there's not that many people living by the shore, and they don't crave to stay in touch with the city folk. She pauses. Her companion carries on. No soul from the north ever came to camp, but when we travel to the roadside inn, Pelt of the North, they're happy to trade and to play dice. Why not just stay at one of the settlements? The man clears his throat. I mean, we're to guard this road. This camp is our post. And well, he turns toward Tulia. She lowers her voice. Don't take it the wrong way, Sinedra, but are you a devout soul? Another choice to be made. So I can be part of the United Church. I believe that people should unite their strength to overcome the threats of nature and dark magic. Everyone will be judged for both good and evil deeds. Order of Truth. For many years, I've supported a monastery that does its best to advance mankind's spiritual growth, artistry, herbalism, and magical research. I follow. So yeah, Order of Truth. I'm from a small village. For me, the freedom of shell, Pneuma, and soul are the main virtues of life. My community is unique and independent, and so are its members. I have a place in my fellowship. I have a strong connection to nature and spirits and follow the path of my ancestors. Some of my beliefs may be considered sinister and treacherous by the city folk. You'd probably call me a pagan. There is no evidence of the rite's existence, and all the mystical tales are explained by magic. No, I'm not. Yes, yeah, so this is a little more, professional than on the PlayStation, but the PlayStation is definitely, especially after today, much easier. Yes, so the comments do actually pop up. Considering that I'm a mage, I'm gonna go with the Fellowship. I definitely do not remember what I picked last time. Oh, I see. She hesitantly looks away. I don't know much about that river of faith, but I'm sure we're not that different. I'm a Unite myself, she says with a sort of pride in her voice. So she follows the United Church. Maybe just explain what you were thinking of. I'm gonna go with The people here are disquieting. Every few words, she taps the table with her finger. Their traditions won't help them negotiate with the officials. Here, she starts to draw lines with her index finger, as if she's pointing at an invisible map. The peninsula is connected with roads, like a big circle. In the northwest, she'll find a weird village at a bog. It's not exactly pagan, I don't think. It even has a priest who claims to be an eremite, like yourself. They do crazy shit, her companion chirps in. They use the dead to cut down trees and dig in soil. Once I saw it, I begged to never return there. I see. You've heard tales such as this one since you were a child. If an isolated settlement manages to survive without a city's influence, its customs and traditions grow more and more alien. Every generation learns how to adapt to the dangerous conditions they have to deal with, and the rustic pagan traditions muddy the river of faith. The United Church often warns its members about the crazy druids, necromancers, and blood mages, the bringers of doom, the traitors to humankind. Were you able to speak with these necromancers? You can see why we're not eager to go there if we could avoid it, the lieutenant chuckles. Maybe they'll be more welcoming to Roadwarden. The roads are dangerous, with little to no shelters. People need your help. The man in the shirt turns a bit and points a finger to the northwest. If you're heading to the undead village, you'll get to an inn first, and soon. Tulia nods. Pelt of the North is a safe place. You can talk with the innkeep or the guards. Ask them about the road. And how about the east? She stares off across the camp. Hard to tell. We went there only once. There are hills, forests, rivers. We saw a tunnel sculpted in leaves and branches, but we didn't enter it. Wilderness all around. Any monsters worth mentioning? Anything that could catch my mount? We saw all sorts of beasts. The man starts to count on his fingers. Goblins, tree ants, cats large and small, runners, howlers, wolves, spiked boars, mufflon eaters, griffins. But we managed to stay away. Some could catch up with most mounts, Tulia glances at her companion, though a palfrey should be fine. The trees are so tall that the flying creatures keep to the coast and mountains. There's not that many humans around, and the animals are busy fighting among themselves. They fight more for food than territory. The soldier cracks his knuckles. Don't provoke them and ride fast. Just count on luck. That's all I need to know. She nods. I'm afraid we can't do more for you. Any ideas on what happened to the previous Roadwarden? Tulia takes a deep breath. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Aren't you a bit late for a rescue mission? We haven't heard from him for almost half a year. The soldiers speak a bit between themselves, trying to get their story straight. They confirm that he had stopped by their camp a few times, but stopped showing up at all in early summer. The bearded soldier starts to scratch the table with the tip of his knife without looking at you. I don't remember his voice. Always busy, drowning in things to take care of. He would sit somewhere, sharpen his sword, fix his loud mail, clean clothes, write notes on that wax tablet of his. Yep, and leave at dawn. Unlike us, Asterion never gets bored. Tulia lets out a joyless chuckle. He's secretive, but some of the locals speak about him warmly. Maybe he just doesn't like us. Sounds like you're not sure if he's dead or not. If anyone knows, they won't tell us. Maybe someone is keeping him in a basement. The man carves with passion. We haven't seen him, or his saurian. Something ate him, I bet. The officials have hired you, right? They don't expect him to return. Richer Roadwardens often use four-legged meat-eating saurians as their mounts. They have to be tamed and trained since they're hatching, but unlike horses, can easily defend themselves from any monsters. At least your palfrey is fast and reliable, and won't suddenly sink its teeth into an innocent passerby. Do you know what he was looking for? Maybe he left you a message. Neither one of us had insight into his dealings, says Tulia. My predecessor left me with no clues. We also took a look at Asterian's stuff. Wait! She raises her open palm. I almost forgot. She stands up and heads to a nearby tent. He has kids in a village near Havlavon. I was planning to take all of his things there. A pouch, a second spear, a decent bow, some potions. Quite a treasure, she glances at you, but I would much prefer to bring them the truth about their father. So you want me to find out what happened to him in exchange for his stuff? Here's the catch. She dusts off the hilt of her sword. I know, yeah. I will say that I actually know the beta of Baldur's Gate was out when this game came out, so technically Baldur's Gate Asterion came first, but a little different. I don't think this one's a vampire spawn. We've hired a messenger to ask the commanders for further orders. Since she hasn't returned and you know nothing about her, she either ran away or something happened to her. She sighs with resignation. We are meant to stay here until fall. What do you think? Come see us, tell us what you've learned about the man, and we'll get back to Havlavon together. You think about your real mission. You're planning to return to Havlavon in early fall anyway. If he's alive, I don't think he's going to be happy about me taking away all of his possessions. True, but he's considered dead. I doubt he'd begrudge you anything. And who knows? You may just find his shell lying on the roadside tomorrow. He wears mail, uses a spear mostly, maybe 5 feet tall, but stout, long red beard, short hair, pale face, rarely smiles. She glances at her companion, but after he adds nothing, she sits down and stretches out her legs. So find out what happened to him, dead or alive. Left, just let me know. I've lost my rope. Could you spare one? Right. You're in luck. She heads towards one of the crates and moves aside a large linen sack revealing a rope. She brings it back and nonchalantly sits down on her chair. Take it. I was planning to leave it behind. You guys are in agreement that he's a dwarf? Okay. Alright, well, considering I didn't find him in the last one, it's highly possible he could be a dwarf. We take a closer look. A fine rope, a regular rope made of hemp fibers. I can buy it for 0. I'm taking it for 0. I'm not offering food, sorry. Tulia nods. For now, you leave the rope on the table. What happened to your squad? The man shrugs. Bandits happened. And monsters. A strong band, though, his companion chips in. When we got to the peninsula in spring, we saw some people living in this camp. The lieutenant decided to avoid it and look for an inn. We had to travel through the night for a bit. The bearded soldier scoffs and crosses his arms, but she carries on. If he had decided otherwise, we would have all died that day. The innkeeper explained that the camp is a trap, that the armed ones pretended to be soldiers. Stay there at night, lose everything you have. Sounds like slave hunters. Tulia sighs. Very much so. They killed some and took others away. Who knows where? They were letting the northerners go, hoping to avoid their wrath. It kind of worked, adds the soldier. We asked them for help, but they refused. We had to clear the entire camp on our own, and that's why 3 of our people died. Don't exaggerate. It's not like the lieutenant didn't make a mistake. He wanted to get rid of them and take over the camp, but we didn't know our enemy well enough. We were outnumbered, and they had an ice mage among them. She looks at you. At least we cleared the road, saved lives. You mentioned monsters as well? Nothing that would surprise you. Those of us who survived this skirmish were young, too inexperienced to spend a summer in this place without a good leader, and they didn't trust me. One of them got caught by a treant, another one ignored my orders to perform some sort of ritual hunt, so a werebear tore her to pieces. The last one tried to act tough, didn't tell us he had cut his hand while cleaning his gambeson. She lets out a ghastly chuckle. He had to cut it off, and he was so ashamed that he decided to walk north, find a new life, disappear. Idiot. What a colorful journey. The man tries to drink from his mug, but it's empty. You've made this place safer. Barely. Tulia seems tired, and who knows if it was worth the lives and effort. Tulia, how did you become a lieutenant? There's not much of a story, honestly. She looks at her hand, which is currently rolling a mug on the table. In the city, there's a strict order of... what should I call it? She exchanges looks with her companion, but it can't help her. Well, leadership succession, I guess. Havlavan chief selects commander, those select lieutenants, and those put their soldiers in order of priority. If a lieutenant dies, they get replaced by the next soldier in line. So you were his successor? Nah, not exactly. When we fought the bandits, our lieutenant was hit by a slingshot. His boyfriend jumped to help him, but failed to protect either of them from a spell. It's like a ball of ice that hung above them and exploded, piercing their heads, completely avoiding their shields. Really unpleasant. She pauses. Sounds like an understatement to me. And you were the third one in line, is that right? Basically, yeah, she says without enthusiasm. I didn't plan to become a leader, though. I'll get demoted once we return to the city. I prefer to follow anyways. What was your squad's mission? Lieutenant looks into your eyes. You know, the usual. Making the road safe, keeping people alive. Explain that it may be important for me to know what they have tried to accomplish. I can't really tell you. You sense no hesitation. Do you have any other questions? Anything I should know about this camp? The story is brief. Some merchants built the camp to have extra stop for mules and donkeys, just between the inn and the southern villages. There's plenty of grass here, and a pond nearby. When the peninsula grew more dangerous, the camp stood abandoned from time to time, serving as shelter for travelers. Bandits came here in spring, further paralyzing the exchange of information between the northern and southern settlements. Since these highwaymen are no more, the situation may reverse. Time will tell. You can sleep here wherever you want, the man concludes their tale, though don't expect to wake up without pain in your back. So, I am not trusted enough to be told their mission. If you were me, where would you go next? Soldier answers quickly. To the inn, of course. He grabs his empty mug. The one northwest from here. If you can't afford the room, the main hall is free of charge. The locals rarely gather there. The northern road is much more traveled, mentions Tulia, but the hunters will tell you about this and that, and you'll have a chance to introduce yourself. The innkeeper can listen and knows many souls. Any tips on how I can make a good first impression on him? She smirks. Avoid cheap jokes. Stick to trade. Don't waste his time. Show him that you can be relied on. It's getting late. We should prepare for the night. I agree, Tulia sighs with relief. And may you do better than Asterion did. Stay vigilant, she winks at you, shattering the mask of a soldier. Open the archive to reread the most recent text. I have done that already. I don't need to do that. Thank you for your help. One more thing, if I can, the bearded man approaches you. Can you take the first watch? Splitting time between 3 people makes a great difference. You think for a moment. To fully rest, you'd need a good sleep. Sure, leave it to me. Fabulous, he pats your shoulder. Should be calm, at least before midnight. Wake me up in a few hours, or even earlier if anything happens. I'm happy to do my part. Stay tidy to have a better chance to influence others. 2 out of 5, you don't stand out from the crowd. You won't get much cleaner without a proper bath. Lovely. You go to the barrel and splash water on your face, which makes you even more aware of how much you need a bath. After the night, it'll only get worse. Your horse is already napping, still too anxious to lay down. I prepare for my watch. The soldier in the shirt is eager to guide you. Just observe the area. There's plenty of griffins around, though they won't try to jump over the palisade. Probably. Better watch out for the apes. They climb up and carry out any food they can find. And there's this one really loud were-elk that keeps smelling the wall, though it has never tried to get in. He points at the gate. The lieutenant and I will block the entrances. They're quite heavy, so if anyone comes here looking for shelter, better call us to help you out. And if this someone is being chased by wolves or anything, better throw them the rope instead. He scratches his head. If it gets too cold, feel free to make a fire, and the best place is on the watchtower. You might want to put a blanket there or something. The watchtower? He gives you a long, puzzled look. Oh, here, he points at the pile of crates. Just climb up to the tallest one. You'll have a great view at the northern side, the more dangerous side. And also, I know you're tired after all that riding. He points at the tent on the other side of camp. I can handle a couple of hours sleeping on the ground. If you wish, go there after me and rest. Just this once. At least I have a pallet inside. Thanks a lot. So see now, even more is shown up. You put your blanket on the tallest crate and sit down. The night is warm, but the sporadic summer breeze brings gentle refreshment. From time to time your back aches, and you have to force yourself to keep your eyes open. The light of the moon helps. You focus on the tall grasses. For most of the time, you spot smaller critters and birds, but there are exceptions. At one point, you see a 3-horned deer trying to challenge another one. Before they clash their antlers, a 2-legged dragonling appears, leading its much smaller offspring. The furry beasts try to intimidate the predators with roars and aggressive head movements. For a few moments, both sides walk away slowly, not willing to risk the fight nor admit their defeat. I don't let it distract me. I keep looking around. You hear the death screams of distant prey and the mating calls of monkeys. Runners are chasing a gray hare. A group of musk oxen lazily chew the grass, preparing themselves to sleep. A dusk fox is running together with a lynx, making playful screeches. Thankfully, you never have to intervene. You just sit there, watching the not-so-distant forest, trying to outlast your sleepiness. You can only guess how much time has passed. Once you feel you've had enough, you climb down and go to a tent. Waking up the bearded man with just a couple words. You confirm that nothing important has happened. Gather my things, squeeze into the tent. I use my bag as a pillow, put my blanket on the pallet, cover myself with my cloak. Get some water, hydration real fast. It's a lot of talking. Sleeping in a tent is not the stuff of dreams, but it's a much welcomed rest. The pallet keeps the cold soil away. The moonlight saves the outside world from the eerie gloom. You listen to your own breath and find a comfortable position. Your job starts tomorrow. Focus on the real goal of my journey. The Merchant Guild wants to take control of this realm. Your wandering duties are secondary. First and foremost, you need to explore the peninsula. Learn about the territory, resources, and threats. Get to know the locals, and if you can, convince them to consider negotiations with Havlavan officials and traders. Could the tribes resist the soldiers, or be a threat to the priests of the United Church? Are there any forbidden practices that need to be eradicated, such as blood magic, necromancy, robbery, or slavery? At least I have time. 40 days to be exact. I need to be as thorough as I can. Once you finish your reconnaissance, you should speak with Tulia and return to Havlavan. There you'll report back to your employers and get your reward. In the meantime, you have your own goal to pursue. So I can gather extra coin to save my siblings from debt collectors, gather extra coins so I can retire early, gather enough connections along the local leaders to become a major player in the Merchants Guild, want to be a hero, I just want to help people, or I want a new life for myself, I had a difficult past and I want it to be forgotten. Make it safer. Help others. I'll be altruistic. You can't travel during the night. Press the sleep button to rest. Your half-asleep senses are catching the sounds of the wild forest. Your instincts keep you alert and anxious, though the pleasant, humid, late summer air evens it out slowly. You're thinking about your goals, but you need to gather your strength. All I can do now is rest. You can spend the night in a borrowed tent. It's nothing special, but it will protect you from the wind and rain, and the ground won't be painfully hard nor cold. So, these are all affected. You take a look at your amulets. For most people, they would be nothing more than trash, but you wouldn't sell them for a pouch of dragon bones. I'm assuming dragon bones is the currency in this world, but I'm not like an expert or anything. You use them to shape Numa to your will. With these little mementos, the few spells you're familiar with are far more reliable. Who knows? Maybe there's already some power held in them. You look at the old, though clean bandages that remember dozens of herbal balms and wounds. I'm assuming currency, just because you wouldn't sell them for a pouch of dragon bones. And dragon bones was mentioned beforehand. No, I thought yes, the city artisans make coins by cutting dragon bones into slices. Okay, so dragon bones are currency. You can put them on your hurting muscles, bruises, and scratches, then hum an old song about time, which either heals all wounds or kills us too soon to let us bother with our problems. Yeah, I agree. I kind of like it, though. After a few hours or so, the linen will warm up, confirming it did its job. The tent may not be much, but your spell would make you feel as good as new, though you'd lose some of your energy. I am going to save my Numa, because I do not know what's going to happen. And last time I was a soldier, so I'm going to save it. If I know what's coming up, then I can be a little bit more frivolous, but not now. 14 hours and 30 minutes before dusk. And 39 days before autumn. You're woken up by sunlight, well rested and ready. Without haste, you gather your things. After only a couple breaths, you notice a weird smell. Like roast. No, burning meat. Burning, rotten meat. Disgust crawls into your consciousness. You exit the tent. Your horse is looking around nervously. Your bags are where you had left them. You see an open gate. Go outside to see what's happening. Both soldiers are standing near a humble pyre. The man in the shirt looks at it contemplatively. Tulia is the first one to address you. Sinedra, she greets you with a nod. We use the horse's manure for the flames, so don't worry about cleaning it up. See, fire here. You see a corpse among the flames. It's impossible to tell if it belongs to a male or female, but it was an adult. The burning process will be over for a couple more hours. A traveler or an undead? The latter. A young one. She lacked the Numa to understand that she couldn't get inside the camp without climbing. Stabbed her with a spear. From a safe distance. She shifts her weight. One more fog and she'd be a real threat. Even now it took a couple of hits to knock her down. Sooner or later, every human shell wakes up, gaining more strength, with each soul it devours and each moment it spends in the fog. Burning the dead is not just a religious practice, it's a necessity. Soldiers, priests, village mayors, even road wardens. Making a large pyre takes a lot of time, but it saves lives. Tulia calls this undead a she. Most unites hesitate to do so. Or most unites, did I say that? Anyway, time for me to leave. Running away from the reek, huh? I don't blame you. She walks with you for a few steps. Find us here if you need us, or if you learn what happened to Asterion. There's enough ground here for you to rest. Safe travels. These words make you stop. An old farewell, mocked in a number of songs and tales, but you hear no scorn in Tulia's voice. You wonder how many acts of kindness like this one you're going to experience in the days to follow. She returns to the pyre. Prepare myself for the journey. Use the travel button to see the map and move to another area. Nice. And now I have 5 out of 5 Numa. My appearance is 1 out of 5. My face is a little dirty, need a bath. And kind of hungry. You somehow miss the fact that your mount is already saddled and warmed up. You double check the equipment, but you don't need to fix anything. The soldiers were diligent. Normally, preparing any palfrey for a long journey takes a lot of time. You put on your gambeson and make sure that your axe is tightly attached to your belt, then get in the saddle. The palfrey knicker is ready to leave. It's time for you to get on the crossroads, north from here. Need to travel north. Travel forward to continue your journey. Once you're done with the north, speak with Tulia and return to Hablaban. It's a really tiny map right now. So Tulia's camp. I'm currently there. Even at a later hour, you wouldn't expect to meet any travelers in the valley. The warm summer breeze lures your mount forward, but the serene chirping of birds is quickly replaced by the distracting screeches and gurgles coming from further down the path. You soon find a pack of 4-legged griffins. They're larger than foxes and merge the features of birds and furred beasts. Each one is a different size, coat, and colors, and their temperaments are just as varied. Their fronts are covered with vivid feathers, while their rears have dark fur. Their wings are massive, making them impressive jumpers, but they're too heavy to fly. About 24 beasts are yelling, brawling, and chasing each other around, blocking your path. Consider my options. You can't enter the forest blindly. If these or other creatures were to chase after you, the thicket would be disastrous for your horse. There are reasons why travelers stay as close to the main roads as possible, and why adventurers move in groups. Usually, the safest path would be to stay where you are and just wait for the pack to get hungry. It may, however, take up a couple of hours. You're thinking about your conversation with Tulia. You got a lot to do, and time may be of the essence. If you have enough Pneuma, you can cast spells to access unique interactions. So I can use a spell, or I can take my axe and hurry the horse. If we ride fast through, we should be fine. I should stay here, better safe than sorry. Do I really want to... We're gonna save here. If this goes poorly, we're reloading. I'm gonna take my axe. Oh. Initially, your horse can trust your guidance, though after a few more steps it snores. You prepare your axe and get ready to push away any griffin willing to jump on you. Once you get in the middle of the surprised herd, your mount squeals and gallops forward. The creatures in front of you flee, but the others try to jump at you from both sides. You kick 2 of them away, but the third one scratches your leg. It hurts, though only a bit. You ride away. The griffins can't keep up. You still hear their screeches when your mount slows down. Ah. That's not good. Slight combat experience, spared animals, none. Oh, I want to spare. Either makes you a weakling or soothes your soul. And soothe my soul. Yeah, I got hurt. Lies. Ooh, I've told no lies. Sewing experience and gambling experience. Alright, we're gonna load. I'm gonna see if I can get through this and not hurt. Nope. One more time. One more time. Haha! Didn't get hurt this time. Just so you guys know, I do this in Baldur's Gate all the time. I save constantly, and then if I don't like a situation, I try to go back. I don't always make sure I get the good outcome, but if it's something big, yes. I am terrible. I have no shame. Initially, your horse completely trusts you. The creatures in front of you flee, but the others jump at you. Third one gets close. Its beak lands only on your boot. The hard leather keeps you safe. I don't give them the opportunity to catch up with me. The road splits. According to what the soldiers have told you, you may find a safe place by turning left. The forest to the right is lush and the trail overgrown. Kids used to have this song. How did it go? The harshest pathway leads to the dragon's lair. Those who search for treasure, do you truly dare? The signpost in front of you doesn't make your situation much clearer. It was put here by someone who can't write, for folks who can't read. Covered in old red paint, it points east. Blood there, as people say. Danger to be found. There is not a soul to ask for guidance. Oh, look at my horse! What's its name? Alright, I am taking chat suggestions because I am not good at naming. I went with Sinedra because, of course I did. Yes, names for horses. I am not naming the horse soda stream! No! Legit suggestions only. Madeline. You're grounded. You're grounded. We're not doing My Little Pony names either. You're grounded. Lucky. Oh, Lucky and Pegasus. Okay, okay. Madeline. Grounded. Okay. Lucky or Pegasus? Fen ears? Do you mean Fenris or Fenrir? I'll do a combination of the two. I did not spell Pegasus right. I was like, I spelled it. I was like, wait. Madeline! Grounded! Lucky Pegasus is peaceful as you stroke its mane. Maybe it can't help you choose a path, but you've spent many years together. Happy to go on, it takes a couple of steps forward. You spot a few berry shrubs and wild cabbages, but they still need at least 2 weeks to to gain maturity. Madeline needs 2 weeks to gain maturity. I can't. Grounded! I'm gonna go left. I want to go to the inn. Lucky Pegasus trots with ease, unbothered by the few branches covering the beaten road. The bird songs and distant howls drag your attention to the forest, which gets sparser and brighter. You spot boars, roe deer, and surians. A sight of a nearby wolf pack worries you, but once you push your hips forward and your palfrey enters a canter, the beasts don't even begin a pursuit. The speed alone will protect you from many dangers. You notice a stone tower, taller than the trees. Must be the inn I've heard about. Inns like this one fit the regions traveled by merchants, but you wouldn't expect a place of this size in a forsaken peninsula. Well, it sounds like you know the problem, and you should still put yourself in timeout. Yeah, exactly. See? Timeout. The stone and lumber must have been transported from far away, and the workers, guarded by extensive mercenaries, surely lived for many seasons in a primitive hamlet, subsisting on salted supplies. Sometimes alliteration kills me, I'm not gonna lie. There are seemingly no cracks in the wall, and the building was whitewashed only a few years back. The road is wide and beaten. Dozens of souls could hide, if not in the buildings, then at least in the yard. The expenses and labor put into this fortress were worth many trading ships. 3 armed people are on the ramparts, so you only see what's above their waistline. They're leaning on the parapet, right next to the gate, and you think you notice a glimpse of a smile. They wear gambesons, each of them dyed differently, yellow, green, and linen gray. You're not wrong. I approach the gate. The woman in yellow armor leans forward. She has long, curly, disorderly red hair, pointing in every possible direction. This combination of colors doesn't work at all. In the woods, one would have to shout to draw this much attention. There's still a fair distance between the two of you, but she speaks loudly. I haven't seen a horse for years now. I just said that it's weird to see such a large jackass, huh? Her voice is young and strong, with an accent that reminds you of the villages spread around Havlavon. But no jackass would wear a saddle, I'd say. She exchanges a few words with a male guard wearing green, giving you time to move closer. Well, this one here says there really are donkey saddles. Say, traveler, how hard is it to ride a horse? Since she's having attitude, I will clap back with witty commentary. You wouldn't believe it, the lessons were a pain. You get off the horse and imitate the silly walk from the day that followed your first journey, when your whole shell was crying. But you illustrate the pain as you move your hand from your back to your hips to the thighs. In return, the guards tell you about the time that they had to carry their friend with bitten off legs for 3 days straight, through the heart of the woods. Meanwhile, the other guards open the gate. You may be in a good mood, the woman in the yellow jacket smiles at you, but don't get so noisy when you talk to our boss. The man never smiles. He has the world's suffering sculpted on his face. She leads you under the roof which your palfrey can rest, tethered with a cord to the wooden post near some old hay. Once you're ready, go inside. Speak with our boss. Maybe you're hungry. The other guards take care of various chores. They peek at your mount every now and then as they're splitting firewood, cleaning their clothes, weeding the garden patches, and moving chairs. 2 of them are making a rope. You head towards the inn, hearing the piercing scream of a boar from the other side of the yard. Oh, poor boar. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. A muscular man is sweeping the floor near the stairs, but after he glances at you, he leans the broom against the wall and heads behind the counter. If you're at an inn in the morning, you can spend the entire day on resting. Well, I'm assuming since I have a time limit, I probably can't spend the entire day resting. Yeah. You're lucky to show up. His voice is deep and soft. Oh, now you're on, Charles. Hi, welcome. I'm only an hour into the game. No, not fans of animal cruelty, not at all. His voice is deep and soft with a city-like accent. He observes you with keen attention, yet avoids your eyes. I have a keg of decent ale, wormwood, bog myrtle, juniper berries, cat's foot. He fills the mug carefully and puts it on the countertop. It's going to spoil soon. Today, maybe. I am not just starting over! You know what? You can go back and watch the beginning of the stream. It's fine. It's fine. It's not like it's not there for you to watch, or that I'm not going to put it on my YouTube channel. Not at all. So you'll just have to get over it. It's going to spoil soon, today maybe, and we don't drink here before the even. I hate to see the good stuff going to waste. His skin is dark, almost purple, rare even among the southern tribes, and his hair is naturally bluish. His clothes are quite fancy for manual labor. The elegant tunic wouldn't stand out in the city square. Right? I know, he is so entitled. I stand at the counter. Charles, by the way, not the innkeeper. The planks let out a creak after every step you make, so you slow down a bit. You could swear that the innkeeper had made little to no noise. Here you go, he pushes the mug forward. But just so you know, my pelt in the north doesn't belong to Hovlavon. You can sleep on the floor if you wish to, but you want a better meal, you have to pay. We have some leftovers from dinner, but I'll need to check. I'll be distance, because they said get straight to the point. I won't stay here for long. I introduce myself. He nods and fills another mug, this time with water. I guess there's no point in waiting for Asterion then. I'm glad to see someone taking his place. Even my crew here hits the roads only if they need to see the healers of Howler's Dell, and they're more than resourceful. A Roadwarden is always going to find work here in the north. Though maybe not on the eastern road. He takes a mouthful of water and drinks it with a pleased sigh. There are no guests here at this time, or hardly ever. I can take a short break. For a brief moment, he meets your eyes. I'll drink the ale. The dark room and wooden walls of the mud make the mug. Talking is hard sometimes. Make the liquid look as brown as a chestnut. The lee in the sprig hits your nose, and the first sip is even too complex, too flowery. While the brewer has used fancy ingredients, the exotic licorice ruins the aftertaste. Now you know why there's so much left. Maybe it takes an acquired taste. The innkeeper nods. I was hoping to see someone willing to patrol the roads. Maybe you'll help me with a worrying thought I have. Which is? There are brigades in the woods. Our place is a stronghold, so I'm not afraid of an open strike. But they've gotten more active in the last 2 days. One day, they may steal our furs, and I've no doubt they're the reason the merchants come here only once. Having bandits around gets expensive. He rubs his hands together, camouflaging his paws. I want you to reach Howler's Dell northwest of here. It's the largest settlement around. I'm sure you'll get there sooner or later. Ask Thias, the mayor, about Glossia, the bloodthirsty wolf of a woman. I've heard rumors about the raid in the north. If Glossia is ready to break the truce with the locals, I'm willing to join forces with them to get rid of her band. He looks at a nearby dragon bone. Not too difficult, right? Just do it when you have the chance. A couple of days won't make much of a difference. Pay you 2 coins when you get back with the news. Fine? 3. He nods with a smile. What else do you need? I could eat some. Do you have any leftovers? Yeah, I feed them to our boar. I won't give them away for nothing. He tells you to wait, then leaves the building for a few minutes and returns with a wooden bucket and a long stick ending with a hook. Go through the gate and turn left. You'll see a bunch of bushes. We need some berries. Bring me a bucket full. It'll be done in half an hour or so. Your horse could use a nap anyway, and I'll prepare something to fill you. The hook is not made of metal or wood. It's a long, curved claw, almost black. Reach for the tools. Half an hour? That's quite a lot for berry picking. The tools are cold, not too heavy. You notice a pair of thick gloves at the bottom of the bucket. Ah, the berries are not the problem, the innkeeper smirks. Unlike the snakes. Better scare them away with a stick or move them with a hook and protect your hands. Little ones won't eat you, but don't get bitten. I'm sure you know how to be patient. Fine, I'll go right away. You step outside. Lucky Pegasus is looking around. At this hour, the armorer's workshop is closed. Forage for berries. The innkeeper knew what he was talking about. You put on the gloves and look through the bushes from a safe distance. It doesn't take long before you notice the first serpent lying on a rock somewhere in the thicket. Creatures are not that large, and even if some of them hiss at you or slither close, the jabs of the hook keep them at a distance. You don't know much about these berries. They're round and reddish. You wouldn't trust such a color even if you were looking for food in the wilderness. Plants don't have thorns, but the leaves are harsh. You make sure to thoroughly cover your skin with your clothes. You have to look through many bushes to fill the bucket, but the presence of insects and snakes don't allow you to relax. Gather the berries and go back to the inn. You've returned to the courtyard. Two of the guards are participating in a friendly skirmish. Their wrestling is accompanied by a crowd. Locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. Several guards are eating gruel and talking with the innkeeper at the stove. So you again. Need anything? Put his fruit on the counter. Great, he peeks inside the bucket. I've got cabbage stew with a few goose chunks for you. I'd serve it even to merchants, if there were any around. The meal is warm and filling. It's well seasoned and not overcooked. And like I've said, I rarely have food to spare, but feel free to ask if you ever stop by. You may be lucky, and I've been cooking my whole life. Thanks! And how did that old hook of mine work out for you? I still have it in your hands. Give him the hook, I'm fine. Lie! I've lost it! As it's in my hands. I don't have it! He takes tools from you and nods. Needs anything else? I'm looking for Asteria in the previous Roadwarden. Are you now? He goes to the table and invites you to sit down with him. I don't think I'm going to be of much help. He rests his elbow on the table and grunts quietly to clear his throat. Right. This is my grandma's hook. You can't have it. Right, the middle school choice. I don't know what happened to Timmy's eraser. Erasing something with it. It wasn't me, right? But I do want you to find him. So, when asked about his intentions, he measures his words. Asterion and I made a risky deal. Well, a very promising one. Last he was here, he took 50 coins, my half of the investment. He knocks on the table with a fist, anxiously. If you get my coin, or at least find out what happened to the guy, I'll make sure you won't be disappointed after bringing me the news. Could it be that Asterion stole the coins and ran away? He looks at the window and starts to play with a shutter. I just think Asterion ain't the kind of soul that would do such a thing. For him, it wasn't much of a fortune, and I'd risk saying that he had earned my trust. Not only mine, you know. It's easy for a Roadwarden to make connections. He always had places to go, things to take care of. He rubs the table with his thumb, as if trying to clean an invisible stain. I've asked travelers. I sent a couple of my pals to find him. No real news. I know he stayed in White Marshes for a day, and was meant to do something for the people there. It's a village in the northwest. Just stay on the main road until you reach bogs, then enter them. You may get there before dusk. So, let me know once you find anything, and we may return to this whole investment thing. I'll think about it. What else do you need? What can you tell me about the peninsula? What could anyone say? This place doesn't even have a name, unless there's an old book in an archive that no soul knows about. You know what I'd call everything from here to the coast? The hunting ground. He glances at your eyes. But it's not us who hunt. Keep that in heart. The beasts in all shapes and forms. His words gain confidence slowly, which is strengthened by his deep voice. I've lived at this inn for over 10 years now, and I've only seen a couple of roads, a couple of places. It's just... once you get here and you see how harsh it is to hit the road, you have only more reasons to stay at the warm stove behind a wall, even if it's suffocating. He looks toward the windows. I'm sure you've heard a lot already, that the people don't build hamlets anymore, that there are no more ibexes from the south, and the traders only stay for a few days. All of our iron is used for cauldrons, not swords or tools. Well, I find traveling west. Well, there are hills nearby. Then you'll find a village, maybe an hour away from here. It was destroyed by beasts almost a decade ago. Nothing to see there. The goblins live there now. It kind of feels like it, doesn't it? So most people just travel around it, and they say it's haunted. But who knows? Who cares? He crosses his arms and starts to sway back and forth, gathering his thoughts. You'll get to a large tree on the edge of the swamp. For the locals, it's sacred. You're not used to hearing someone mentioning pagans as if there's nothing unusual about them. There's a small path south which leads to an old mine in the mountains. Nothing to find there. Keep riding north and you'll find Howler's Dell, set at a clean brook. Farmers live there, and mufflons, and druids. They'll let you stay for a night, but they're not cheap. If anyone thinks my prices are bad, it means they ain't been to Ape Ale Inn yet. He lets out a gentle smile. I nod politely. I know only about the next settlement, Old Pagos. The soil there ain't too fertile, and they work in their quarry to help other settlements build things in exchange for crops. The forests and hills ain't too harsh, but the Seekers have a small monastery nearby in the mountains. I don't care much about them. They keep to themselves, and they don't pay well. The third village is unknown to me. White Marshes, set at the bogs. Heard it smells like a griffin's lair, but I've heard a lot of nasty rumors about the place. But I won't share them. I don't want to be a lie spreader. So, 3 villages really. Howlers, the one near the monastery, whatever it's called, and Marshes. Don't let their beds and palisades fool you, though. Weird people live there. Don't tell them more than you need to. You wonder if there's something he would tell other travelers as well. Are the East Roads as rough as I've heard? Pretty much. Don't leave the main road, I'd say. Not so far from here, you'll find an old dolmen. A few of my people had to spend a night there, and the monkeys stole food and gods from their bags. It was their fault. One of them had fallen asleep in the middle of his watch, but, you know. The eastern forests are wild. The roads are rough. Almost no soul lives there. One day, all these roads will be swallowed by the trees again. The furthest my team has ever gone is the home of the Enchantress. Just stay on track until you reach the crossroads right near the abandoned watchtower. From there, turn east. You'll recognize the place. It's a nice home in a lonely meadow, surrounded by a wall. He looks toward the closed window, then at you again. Kind of like our walls, but simpler, without coating. She lives as a hermit, Adosia. I don't even know how she survives there, but you don't have decent coin, you won't find much there. So, back to the crossroads. If you turn left instead, you'll see a road. People stay away from it. Connects the tower and the monastery. A shortcut between 2 sides of the peninsula. I've been warned by locals not to use it. It already belongs to the beasts. Have you ever been to the northern coasts? I only know about another inn. It's far from here. Maybe a day on foot, a bit less from the eastern side. His eyes once again focus on the floor. I've never been there, but I've heard it's a safe place. Close to the villages of fishers and hunters. I don't know much about them. That's all I need. I didn't expect to find an inn of this size in this place. Ah, so you know a thing or two after all. His mocking tone is soon replaced by a gentle smile. It was built long before we arrived. It didn't work out well for the previous owners. Once the war ended, they left. Not enough travelers, bad trade. The villagers stuck to themselves. We, however, came prepared, and now we're prospering. When you ask him how they can afford all the supplies, he runs his fingers through his dark hair. I'm not against running an inn, but we don't rely on guests. We're the ones doing all the trading. My hunters are a clever bunch and stay safe in the forest. In exchange for furs, claws, and bones, we get what we need, and more. Both from the south and the north. He relaxes in his chair. We have a good life here. We spent a whole lot on armor, crossbows, lumber, and spears, but in another 10, maybe 20 years, we'll have enough savings to move to Havlavon and not work another day in our lives. We take big risks, but smartly. The team is stronger than ever, and I have big plans for us. No, is there a good story behind the inn's name? I mean, there's a story, but not a good one. He clears his throat. For years, I wanted to have an inn called Pelt, but in my city, it would be in bad taste. Taverns and inns named with the sequel word were cheap and had nasty reputations. There was the Claw, and Mugger, Basilisk, and Blissful, I think. The good places used at least 2 words. Empty Barrel, A Rose in a Hamlet, Empress's Smile. Pighead was the exception. It was a real dive, he chuckles. In my soul, it's still just Pelt. Pelts are what we came here for and will make us reach our goals. Sure. This can't end poorly. I'm surprised to find a purple-skinned man so far in the north. I ain't seen a soul looking like this since my ma died, he shrugs. It's not a fascinating tale. Let's just say I wasn't part of the invasion. Yeah, I'm glad it freed all those who were chained by the cities and their corsairs. He looked at the wall. I am Iason, by the way, but I rarely hear the name. Yeah, it is a pretty nice name. About Glossia's band. He freezes, observing your hand silently. He wants me to get the answer from the mayor's band. I'm on it. Any rumors we're sharing? He crosses his arms. I don't like to talk about people who ain't nearby, but you know what you're doing? Who are you wondering about? Tell me about... Oh, I can type stuff. Talia. That wasn't her name, was it? What do you mean you don't know? You know. He knows. Tulia. Asterion. Tulia, yeah. Tulia and Asterion. I don't remember how I spelled it, but we'll do Tulia first. I ain't seen Tulia in quite some time, since her squad vanished to the fogs. She's been careful. Glad to know she's still alive. She's too inexperienced to lead others to battle, I think. He shrugs. Like most people, she needs to follow others, but she already knows that. There's nothing worse than a fighter too stupid to limit their ambitions. Thank you, David. Well, not a large man, though broad-shouldered, red hair and beard. I don't know what to say. He raises a muscled arm and places a hand on the back of his head. He was a fine fellow, but I doubt he's still alive. He always tried to stay away from things, let's say. People knew him, but he didn't really have allies. Maybe the locals know what happened to him, yet decided not to help him, or they wanted to get rid of him. He leans forward, looks at his boots. Asterion was a fine man, a quiet one, but not dumb. He aided me many times. Not for free, of course. And when he couldn't finish the job, it was for damn good reasons. And you know what? He looks in your eyes. He was scrupulous, patient. I'd be shocked if he died because of some mistake of his. Maybe the bandits got to him. Why not? How about... Aww, I didn't know about my horse. What about me? Don't get awkward, Roadwarden. I love that I could ask about myself. That's awesome. What do you have for sale? I can go and pick up a few things for you. Some food for your travels to start with. Apples, nuts, sausage. Not too many at once. We need to maintain our supplies. I've got elk fur I don't need. Its buyer was caught by a pack of red wolves. Nice for a sleeping spot, just as nice for a wall. An almost untouched bowl of soup, priceless for a traveler. You can't tell if he's being sarcastic. Made of fine oak ash. Strong, though you should have some better supplies before you start your own bathhouse. After you mention you'd like something more useful on these roads, he looks down. I don't have any blades or armor to spare, but if you pay well, you can take one of our crossbows and a bunch of quarrels, a yew-bow, wood cords, and the trigger just needs a bit of oil. It's as good as you can get without soaking it in magic. It takes a bit of muscle to draw, but even a 16-year-old could handle it. I won't sell it cheap, but I'm ready to give a discount to a helpful ally. I only have 5 coins. Box of soap, the oak-based balm that burns skin on longer contact. Oh, I bought food rations. I bought all of them. Look, I don't know if I can be Daryl. I picked a mage, remember? I picked a mage, so I'm not... I don't have muscles. I go outside. Lucky Pegasus is napping. You hear the clinking of tools coming from the armor's workshop. I'm gonna approach the guards. Woman in yellow armor is kneeling next to a brown, hairy boar which is resting on its side. The beast is not as large as the dark ones from the forest. It responds to the touch of the human's hands and brush with grateful grunting and rapid twitches of a hind hoof. No matter how friendly it appears, it's still tethered to the well. You have no doubts that its charge would leave Lucky Pegasus dead in a breath. When the woman notices you, she steps forward to the boar's disappointment. So, the new Roadwarden, she points at the window with her chin, forestalling the question. We don't need anything now, but when we travel with our furs, we could use some assistance. She may be around 30, but her warm voice and bright smile are camouflaged by the touch of time on her unpowdered face. Like many red-haired people with freckles, her skin is unhealthily pale. Wow. The boar runs up to her, observing your boot and fruitlessly sniffing for food beneath the beaten ground. She pats its back but maintains her focus. How about a game or two? We have a bit of time and could talk about this and that. Maybe you'll get a couple of coins. Or lose one. We'll play dice or throw axes at a target. Right? Exactly! The game is not a fan of gingers. Let's play nice. Your arrival, and especially the dragon bone you pull out, are cheerfully welcomed. Two of the guards bring a table from the inn, another one prepares a couple of stools and chairs. There are also spectators, and you're told the other hunters are either sleeping or have duty on the tower. Remember, says one of the players, his face is deadly serious. No magic. I guess I got that out of order, but whatever, the point still stands. The game is new to you, but in no way baffling. 4 people can play at once. The wooden dice are long, with only 4 dotted faces. Every time someone wins a round, they get a point, and the person with the most points at the end of the game wins all the coins. As you play, you don't feel like you have much control over the results. Blend in with the group. You share casual jokes, memories, and views on luck and optimal strategies. Lucky Pegasus and Tullia's camp are also brought up, but when you ask about the roads or locals, their stories are vague. The drinks are here. It's poor beer made from the leftovers after regular brewing. It's cold, sweet, and doesn't reach your head, but you try to avoid the smell. Just don't spill anything. The boar may get sick, says your bald opponent. In just 2 minutes, you get 2 points, which are now represented by smooth pebbles. You don't really know how you got them. Either you don't get the strategy, or it's just pure luck. Let's see how lucky I am. Aww. The score is second best. Nice one. You hear a man, fancily braided beard, who reaches to pick up your dragon bone. As the table and chairs are carried back into the building, the guard in yellow armor looks at you with a smile. Have you ever been at the heart of the woods? We sometimes hunt south from there. There are good hunting grounds in the western half. The second one is too overgrown. Maybe the soil is different? She shrugs, then moves her hair away from her forehead. But it's a risky spot. There are tree ants there and wolves, even the furless ones. If you have to go through the tall grasses, watch out for what's on the ground. There ain't too many archers in the trees. She smiles as if it's a joke. But there are too many worms, even larger than a water leech. Tell me about yourself. Oh, what was that? After a brief giggle, her voice gets cold and serious. Nah, Roadwarden. We use names and stories among friends. You ain't one. Don't make me tempt curses. People are so unfriendly out here. I was foraging for berries for the innkeep. She chuckles. So I've heard. Don't worry about it. Usually we forage by ourselves, but he wouldn't ask you for a dragon for a meal. He gives small jobs to people all the time, just to see who agrees to do them. Wants to judge who's abuse and who's too proud for their own good. Not much to tell, honestly. There are many beasts around, both wild game and dangerous monsters. We spend our time surrounded by these walls, leaving only to hunt, forage, or trade. It's an unusual tower. I'd expect it to be closer to the gate, and shorter. Like in Hovlavon? Fair, but it ain't here to protect the gate. This stronghold was built long before we moved in, and not to fight off humans. The tower is meant to be used by those who observe the deep forest. We look out for fires, dragons, and any winged creatures that are looking to roost on the roof. Baldy, she nods to a man who is indeed completely bald, has a great eye, and sees well even in the darkness. Any interesting creatures living nearby? Here? Everything lives here. She flips her hair. I swear, we saw a few dragons, a unicorn family, a battle between trolls and goblins, phase 2 beastmen, oh, and a gargoyle, and a hunting queen shouts all the time. I tell you about all of them, but I won't. She winks and pats the boar on its head. You know, hunters have their secrets. Seem quite attached to the boar. How could you not be? She crouches and raises the boar's head, but it steps away and squeals as if someone's murdering it. Oh god, that's quite a switch. It was just fine earlier. She was petting it or brushing it, and it was fine. It was fine. Welcome, new viewer. Just playing Roadwarden. Right, fine. Keep your secrets. It came with us from the city just in case. We had no clue how our first winter would go, so we needed some backup meat. And it works too. Cleans the dirt. She reaches out to the beast again, but it trots away. The woman straightens up with a pleased sigh. Oh, we haven't needed to eat it so far, but it's also funny. I learned in my home village that the farm boars are getting a bit smaller and more cuddly, kind of like ibexes. So it's not such a wild, dangerous beast. We don't let it get too close to other animals or children. What do you usually hunt for? Anything we can eat or sell. If there's a partridge, a squirrel, or a rat, we don't complain. But when we move as a group, we look for something larger. Deers and aurochs are delicious, but we don't always look for taste alone. There's value in bones, antlers, claws, tusks, things people use to make tools or sculptures. We use some of them to make tools and spears, and you can never have enough spears. She pauses and looks at a strand of her hair, then suddenly speaks up again. I would look for furs, of course. What can I find north of here? I'm sorry, we don't really go into those regions. We stay close to home. Only sometimes move south or west to Hallersdale, but only to trade. They're fine with buying more than they need, since they take wares to the coast. She takes a long breath, twirling her hair and gathering her thoughts. You know what? I've never even seen a beach. And I've been living here for how many? More than 10 years now, she giggles. I agree, dears. I've never put a toe in salt water. She looks toward another huntress who confirms that her experience is the same. But Old Pagos is a good place, as long as you don't mock their order and act nice. They'll also be kind. Boss says they're too serious for him to stand them, but at least they don't bite without reason. Have you heard anything about necromancers? It's something new. Her voice lowers to a whisper. I've never been to White Marshes, but over the years we've seen people moving away from there, south. They told us that place has changed too much. A priest died, I think, and the new one awakens the dead. Sorry, Roadwarden. That's all I know. If she's hiding something, she sounds convincing. Thanks. Looking for knowledge on wild creatures. Well, I told you our knowledge is valuable, but I don't know. She looks at the boar, which seems to be obsessed with a clump of grass growing next to the wall. 15 dragons, no less. I'm not gonna push the friend angle, because clearly she wasn't too happy with me to begin with, so... to the armor. Right, yeah, roll insight, I wish. You walk past the well and find a small open shed, not unlike the stable, but with a humble set of tables, carving tools, hammers, sharpening stones, pincers, knives, and other tools. As long as something can be solved by brute force, this place will find a way to do so. There are two people sitting on a long bench. The first one is a male with maybe inch-long hair, a cleanly shaven face, a thin, long yellow tunic, bare legs, and sandals. He ignores your presence, sewing a gambeson with great concentration. The second person is a boy, maybe 15, who's wearing the crude outfit of a farmer. He glances at you, but soon returns to sharpening a long dagger. Greetings! The man raises his head, but it's the boy who speaks, focused on his task. He ain't talking. Tell him what it is you need. The man smiles in confirmation, looks at the piece of garment in his hands, then looks around, shrugs, and returns to you with a raised eyebrow. Could you patch my clothes if they were torn? He shakes his head and points at the uneven seams of his own tunic, then grabs a crude bone needle and shows you its broken head. He wouldn't even if he had the tools, says the boy, but you can try in Hallersdale or Gale Rocks. I look at the youngster. Learning the trade, I see? Kind of, he answers reluctantly, but his teacher pats his knee, giving him a harsh look. The kid clears his throat. Yes, but we both ain't masters, you see. There's not a soul to teach us, so once I'm ready, I'll try hunting instead. Fixing things for others is boring. The man grunts a sound, though you don't understand it. Seeing your face, the boy chuckles. He said safe. Let's meet in the middle. Boring, but safe. The man nods. I'm in need of your services. He nods, points at the laces at the front of your jacket, raises a clenched finger to his shoulder, then gently spreads and lowers them, as if he's taking off a robe. You follow his command and allow him to properly inspect your gambeson. After a few minutes, he gives it back, then reaches for his pouch. He pulls out one dragon bone, shrugs, then another one, and waves both of them in the air, pursing his lips. He makes a few speech-like noises with his empty mouth, groaning what sounds like, I don't know. I consider his offer. 1 hour, your jacket will be carefully patched up. Yeah, I'll do it. Your jacket is as good as this armor can make it. I only have 2 coins now. I feel like this gambeson can make... he ain't that experienced. We do this and that, but only the simple things. Okay, so I can't improve that anymore. Go to the well. The recently renovated wooden roof covers the well from rain and birds. One of the guards is enjoying the cold drink he drew with a bucket. He tells you to use only as much water as necessary. You need at least 1 piece of bathing equipment to get out of this place. Won't get any cleaner here. My clothes need no washing. Show me your wares. I'll buy soap. Guys, I'm poor. I wash my shell. Splashing yourself with cold water from a bucket won't take away your smell, but it's enough to remove the tallow and sweat from your skin, or mud stains from your clothes. Do I still have my soap? Oh, look, Lucky Pegasus. Nope, it looks like I used up my soap in its entirety. I still want to know what my lucky button does. Oh, wait. Oh, no, I have the soap still. I did not drop the soap. I still have it. I still have the soap. Okay. Step away. So now I can leave again. I can travel. Source supplies. Trader Taylor. Source of water. We're gonna keep going west, not east. Because I don't think I'm prepared enough to head east. The road uphill meanders, slowing you down and forcing you to pay close attention not only to the shadows of the trees, but also to the tight, rocky passages. You can't help but notice a few caves and find ambush spots. Keep my eye out for any signs of life. Standing in front of the gate, you hear no voices, no tools at work, no steps. Dozens of birds live among the collapsed roofs. Their fluttering, singing, and squawking is for your worry. If you want to travel any further, you need to ride around the palisade. The shadow? Searching the ruins may take a lot of time. The broken gate in the north will lead you to the village. A sound of a gentle river reaches you from the east, where you see a saggy fence surrounding an overgrown pasture. Behind the burnt building in the east, you see an oddly barren field. So, again, I love how it only shows you, like, what you can see. Like, clearly, there's enough here to fill this whole page, but this is all I know about. So I'm going to approach the building. Broken logs and planks are charred. I don't know where that came from. The broken logs and planks are charred, while the wooden walls are rotten and covered in moss. You see no ashes or dust, proving that the fire happened long ago. The smell is awful, and there are no reasons to stay for long. You see no furniture, just some broken shelves. It was just a storage room. The valuable odds and ends were already taken by scavengers. Take a closer look at the gate. The palisade is in good shape, and the entrance wasn't even touched by the fire. It was torn away, possibly thrown. The amount of used force must have been huge, but you'd expect that it would push the gate into the village, not away from it. You don't see any marks of a dragon bite. A troll could toss such planks, but after so many years, you see no paw prints. A mage? You can't really tell. Move forward. Where do you want to go? Explore the southwest part of the village. I want to inspect the pasture. You don't find a single sign of the livestock that lived here in the past. Any bones, horns, antlers, or dung have already been devoured by the wilderness. The pasture ends at the river. On the opposite bank, the meadow turns into a thick forest, impenetrable for a rider. What are the chances that a herd of defenseless animals could get there and survive? The breach in the southern fence wasn't made by some brute force. You find axe cuts in the spot that were ultimately broken away. After all these years, there are no tracks that you could follow. Well then, return to the main road. So inspect the fields. You're surrounded by what looks like a field plowed in late autumn, disturbed by hundreds of rains and snowfalls. There's a few clumps of grass and wheat, but a place like this one, abandoned by years, should have already turned itself into a greenly. A barren field? Maybe it was overused, but you would still expect weeds to sprout. A curse? The path leading west of here ends at the edge of the field, shifting into a meadow, then a forest. In the north, you see a path leading to the palisades. No, I'm not going to use magic yet. I don't know what I can use it on for this, and I kind of do not want to. Unless I don't have a way to investigate. I don't know. Nope, I don't have a way to investigate. You feel a slight aching in your stomach. Yeah. I've got 3 out of 4. I'm fine. Fine, I'll do it. You unpack the wooden spheres, pleasantly smooth and light. The entire set fits in the palm of your hand. You place them in various spots, marking their positions by sticking a branch in the soil. All you can do now is wait. So you brush Lucky Pegasus for a bit and make sure the saddle doesn't bother it. When you return to gather your amulets, all of them are much warmer on your skin. The entire field is corrupted. Though seeing how there were already some plants growing from it, the spell is fading away. The curse is most likely as old as the last harvest. Need to cool these amulets off. We'll look at the southwest part of the village. Right, yeah, I cast Fireball. The buildings, some of which have collapsed, are made of wood, now charred and rotten. You spot claw marks on the walls, especially close to the doors and window frames. They could belong to Dragonling or a large wolf, larger than the gray ones, or Corpse Eater. Too many options to take a guess, yet no beast remains in sight. You find the remains of cloth, furniture, odds and ends. Only one object seems to be of use, a basket-like fish trap made of vines and willow branches. If a large fish swims into it, it won't be able to get out on its own. It's quite large, but I can fit it on my saddle. The closer you are to the village, the longer you stay around, the sicker you feel. The taste of gastric juices hits your mouth. Your forehead hurts. You start to stumble. Lucky Pegasus, worried by the sight, pokes your head with its nose. I have to remain strong. I push through my illness. Oh, that was not good. Another few steps, you return your last meal. You spend a minute or so leaning forward, gathering your breath, then wipe your mouth. You feel better. Straighten up. Where do you want to go? Explore the southeast part. You find a small backyard. The ground is beaten. The grass grows only right next to the buildings. It would have been a fair spot for training dancers and fighters. The stakes of the palisades are covered with playful carvings left by children who are portraying monsters, weapons, and humans. The rubble has been pushed into the corner of the houses. Right, I know, right? The furniture is broken, but you find something of use in one of the piles, a slightly rusty piece of steel. Once you pull it out, you realize it's a coral of a crossbow. Still usable. Won't be difficult to find a use for it, except I have no crossbow! I'll eat a food ration. You feel a slight aching in your stomach. Go to the main square. Just throw it. In every village, the main square is the fanciest area, meant to charm the travelers. Yet, this is more than you expected. The houses are as big as in Havlavon, and the paved ground took a lot of work and materials. The walls, now charred and riddled with holes, are made of an extensive coated wattle. The tiles for the roofs also have been bought here from a different settlement. You peek inside the three smaller buildings, the rotting remains of their former splendor. The birds living in dozens of nests respond to your arrival with quite a commotion. You don't find even a single dragon bone, nor a tool or piece of furniture left unbroken or unrotten. You're surrounded by bad smells, dirt, animal droppings, and garbage. Their well also stinks. It has no bucket, but you'd be afraid to use it anyway. Who knows how many birds have relieved themselves inside, or how many old rats have found their death while climbing up the walls. Suddenly, you hear sounds coming from the largest building. Your stomach makes you let out a pained groan. You should check it out. You step cautiously toward the scent of urine and sweat. The flickering candlelight shows you broken furniture, yet no signs of burnt wood. You consider pulling the other door when a masculine voice proves that your presence is not unnoticed. I didn't want it to come to this, but stay where you are. Whatever you put inside, be it a shoe, a hand, or your damn thinker, it'll get a bolt. I ain't drinking it. I ain't drinking it. I'm the new Roadwarden, let's talk. A short pause. Well, we can talk, we can. But how is it that you choose this place to visit from all that there are? He goes on before you respond. And maybe you're telling the truth, so let's say this. My little ballista here is all pulled and ready, but you won't be doing anything stupid, right? No running, no jumping around. Show your hands. Right, what's the worst that could happen? I don't know if there's a plague or not. Obviously, like, it had something to do with magic. But I'm not sure. The man's voice lacks confidence and his accent is tricky for you. He could be from the distant south, but as long as you don't speak too quickly, you understand one another. You don't hear any movements, breathing, voices. You lean your axe against the doorframe and make sure your knife is well hidden. I walk inside. The dense smell of urine hits you full force. While the tools and utensils are hard to distinguish from the rubbish, the route to the upper floor is blocked by the collapsed roof and loose wooden beams. There are scraps of rusting iron and steel on the ground. Yeah, ew. Detached from the now destroyed barrels. The scavenger is sitting on the blanket in front of the tent, pointing at the floor with his loaded crossbow. Probably. Not a short man, though a bit skinny. He's tanned, dark-haired, and has seen his share of struggles. There are long claw scars on his left cheek, and another one that would divide his eyebrow in half if it hadn't been consumed by a fire, just like the rest of his forehead. His clothes are untainted by vanity. He's barefoot in a dirty linen shirt with rolled-up sleeves and simple pants that use a cord for a belt. His long beard and hair are untrimmed and tangled. I sit on the stairs with raised hands. I am not a threat. You wipe the dust off the steps, but before you sit down, you hear... He probably cast Fireball and then burnt off his own eyebrows. Now, don't get too homey. It's the only place here that's not just ash and debris. I'm not sharing it. You better ride ahead. I already pulled up whatever hasn't rotten. The candlelights are dancing on his burnt face and arms. He moves his crossbow just enough to make sure he won't shoot you by accident. I saw your horse. Maybe you could help me, What are you looking for in this place? You don't sound like you're from the north. I need to know the peninsula. I'm going to patrol it. Then you better stay away from the eastern paths. No shell rides there anyway. But even the west and the coast have roads like moose crap. I've traveled and pedaled for years now, I wait for some group to join, and here, people don't travel, or know damn anything about any place. Just a waste of time, I tell ya. A long pause. Listen, he scratches his thighs nervously. I'm hungry. So damn hungry. I can't hunt or fish with all the 8 men around. Can you share anything, Roadster? I may be a drifter, but wouldn't beg if I had not lost my bags on the road. I gave away 2 food rations. You say so, but don't know my dearth. He bites into the sausage right away, but after a couple of solid bites, he puts your gifts on an unfolded tunic that's lying on the floor. Without ya, I would have run after birds with my ballista. But we'll need to save the bolts for the 8 men, and because of those stinkers, I can't roast here, and raw meat makes me want to puke. Thank ya. After a moment of hesitation, he grabs one of the plums. Now, Roadster, he says with a full mouth, if you have questions, ask. I'll say a lot to make you get me out of here. This village makes me sick. Me too. In the guts I'm the thinker. Gets easier with time if you're patient. Must be the air, the smell of death. Death and 8-man piss. He pats his stomach while laughing. Tell me about yourself. He gives you a sullen glance. What for? I have no legacy to keep alive in tales. I may tell you this and that after you take me out of here. And you keep the goblins away. I got a trick or two to keep me safe, a little something that scares them away, even without magic. But tell you what, his smile turns into a wide grin. Help me get out of here, and I'm going to share some of it with you. You sure no one dead around here? He nods. I've seen none. People say it's been less than 10 years since the herds came through. Well, don't know if anyone bothered with raising the pyres. If not, the dead are all roaming in the forest now. He clicks his tongue with frustration. And maybe that there's a walker somewhere under the debris, waiting to break through a dragon in an egg. He looks straight at you. You'd better not dig. Have you searched the entire village? Are there no treasures left? You come to the wrong place. Time, moisture, and the damn borers devoured all the loot. I've been here for a couple of days now, and all that's left is this iron I carried here. I was planning to get back here with some hired muscle and clear the collapsed buildings, but I doubt it's worth the time and the risk. You have any idea what happened here? Well, I won't guess, but I saw many ruins. There's no treasure and skeletons here, so this place means as much as dirt. Someone was barking too loud, so the beast broke through and made them quiet again. He clicked his tongue. That's that. Talk about nature's fury brings bad luck, don't you know? I've heard about some bandits. Have you seen any hideouts nearby? Nah, I think they're all north or east. I stick to the western road and no shell bothered me. Sorry, can't help ya. Looking for another Roadwarden, a man known as Asterion. I've never met him. Well, sure heard his name many times. He vanished long before I got to the coast. At first, people were asking about him. Now they think he's dead. What do you want to travel to now, and what will you give me for help? Let me explain first. I was in Hallersdell, the closest village to the east and north, and people are nice, not like old Pagos. They're all boring and grimmer than a cow, but they cry for coin. They cry for coin for everything, and damn good coin. I wanted to look around the ruins to see if there's anything left, then moved to Pelt and hire the hunters to help me here. No luck, bunch of griffs jumped my pack bird. I just bought it. He spits on the floor. Fast and nimble, but not brave enough to listen to me with all that screeching and scratching started. So I ran away with my bags. A few fell on the ground and I pulled him here. But you see how it is. I won't travel around with a tent on my back. He taps the crossbow with his fingers. I need maybe a day, or a day more. Just a day, and I'll have the iron scrapped from the barrels so I can move forward. But I can't take all my stuff alone, and without me around, the 8 men are going to break in and steal all my shit. I need to stay here, but since you have a horse, come back tomorrow and help me return to Hallersdell. How about it? I need to know that the road is safe. Safe as can be, I mean. What exactly do you want me to do? I need you to make sure there are no dangers hiding on the road from here to Howlers. Or rather, I know there is some danger, but as long as you can get there and safely return, I'm sure we can handle some Roman monsters. He theatrically rubs his hands together. This ballista has hit more beast skulls than I have fingers, and I've never lost a finger, Roadster. Only toes. Maybe to prove it, he starts to count on his fingers. So, see if the road there is clear, then come back here tomorrow. We'll pack my stuff on your horse and move out. But don't come when it's close to evening. We're going to need 3 hours on our feet, and I won't push through the night. Even sleeping next to an 8-man tribe is safer. He chuckles. Don't make me wait for too long. I can wait for a couple of days if I find some food, but if you don't get back, I'll have to risk it no matter what. Why Hallersdell? If you want to go south, we should travel to the Pelt to the north. I mean, I see your point. Well, I've never been there. Can they afford my iron? Do they have the means to pay for it? I need coins to find a handy bunch that will walk south with me, and I need new staff and bolts. I know the village. It's a nice place. It even has a smithy of sorts. I had a chance to look, though. It's a large inn, a safe one. They seem to be rich and have hunters to guide you south. You can use iron to barter. Well, it's a shorter path, I guess. Fewer spots to get surrounded by corpsers. If you're sure it's the best option, fine. I'll trust a roadster's judgment. I don't work for free. Oh, thank you. I'm probably not going to be streaming much longer anyway, but I really appreciate it. You have a good night, too. I have ways to pay you, don't you worry. I can give you dragons, but I'll have to sell the iron first, so I'll need a bit of time, you see. 5 for a short escort would be plenty, I say, but if you want, I'll give you a secret jar of mine. A very fine mixture that scares 8 men away. Works on pebblers, too. When you ask if all this stench of urine is somehow related to the potion, he just winks and chuckles. So I'd like to learn more about the villages, blah, blah, blah. I mean, sure, but I don't have connections there, Just my eyes. He starts to hum. You know, a longer pause. When you get to Howlers, you'll meet the mayor there. For sure. Nice. And whatever you do, don't ask her where she got her coins from. She's rich. Super rich. But don't ask her how this happened. Trust me. He scratches his beard with a mournful look. Fine, it's a deal. I'm going to escort you. Thanks, Roadster. Just come tomorrow. I'll make it worth your time. I'm going to leave now. So I'm going to inspect the palisade to the west. The tracks of human footwear and many more 8 footprints cover the path formed around the palisade's breach. As far as you can tell, the freshest footprints lead to the village. The wooden stakes spread out on the ground are rotten, covered by mushrooms, small flowers, insects, and worms. A good source of animal or goblin food, they'd expect them to hunt for the birds and eggs. The meadow in the west turns into a forest quickly. The grasses in the north surround dozens of tree stumps already covered with moss and fungi. Going south, you'll reach a large field, though you don't see any crops. Shouldn't enter the forest, especially not in this area. It's unpredictable. Where do you want to go? Due northwest. I'll kind of circle around. The colorful grass covers the entire fenced pasture. The large stone placed in the middle suggests that it could be a playground for ibexes, or maybe it's just an old garden. You see a couple of small sheds, a latrine, and a single building to the south, completely burnt down. All of these places were cleared out by scavengers. Lucky Pegasus doesn't want to approach the large ruins in the north. The terrible stench of feces and rotten wood scares you off as well. The paths are covered with goblin footprints. It's daytime, so the pack should be asleep. If the beasts were active, they would try to scare you off or to hunt down your mount. This is their territory, and once they wake up, you will face a furious enemy. Go somewhere else quietly. The closer you are to the village and the longer you stay around, the sicker you feel. The taste of gastric juices hits your mouth, your forehead hurts and starts to stumble. Lucky Pegasus. Oh. Yeah, walk away from the walls. This happened before. Leaning on your mount, you go outside, keeping your mouth shut. After a few minutes, your eyes get clearer. It may be better to leave or at least stay away from the village for the rest of the day. I feel like I got to explore more of the village last time. Inspect the clearing. The meadow is lush and colorful, and so dense it's unsafe for a rider. For a couple of minutes, you lead Lucky Pegasus with a rope, avoiding the potential disaster in case of a hoof falling into an animal den. Being forced to travel around the palisade every time you get here is going to be a pain. Most of the tree trunks look similar and have a comparable size. They were most likely planted with the sole purpose of being cut down and used by the locals. Though cutting so many trees at once, that alone could provoke the wrath of the herds. Such a process should be spread across a couple of seasons, and you can't be sure that was the case. In the west and north, the clearing turns into a wild forest. In the east, you see a road leading north. Leave the clearing. Go to the road leading north from the village. You're at the closed northern gate. The neglected road is partially overgrown. You hear a river in the east, separated by the lush meadow, filled with crickets and rodents. Have a closer look at the gate. Pushed or pulled, it doesn't move an inch. Someone has spread dirt and rocks, both underneath it and around it, seemingly to keep the planks stuck to the ground. To the river. You see a quenching family of boars, some of them brown, some black. You consider turning back, but they pay you little attention. After a couple grunts, they run north. The river is not too wide, yet unusually deep, with banks altered by the locals for decades, if not centuries. The water is cold and clean, yet filled with long plants growing from the bottom. You would rather avoid jumping inside or drinking from it, but you're tempted to at least wash your face, neck, and hands. Dozens, if not hundreds, of small fish are looking for tasty leaves, but also try to avoid their predators. A dance of life, completely unaware of your presence. You suddenly realize there's something else buried along the kelp. A rusty sickle sticking out of the ground, a couple of stone axes and hoes, wooden handles, and a large wagon are covered with moss, but you recognize their shapes. Why would someone drop them here? On the opposite bank, the meadow turns into a thick forest, impenetrable for a rider. You turn back. You stop and touch your aching stomach. Yeah, put the fish trap on the bank. You place the basket on the ground, then grab a bowl and start digging, looking for a few larger worms. You bait the sticks and push it inside the basket, locking it between the sides, then cover the entrance with the lid. Tying it together takes you a few good moments, but it will be easier later. You attach the entire trap to the bush and send it into the stream, far enough that it sinks entirely. Who knows how long it will take before something large enough swims inside. Still, it would be better not to wait for too long, otherwise the prey may die of hunger. Step away. I'm gonna wash myself. I wash my shell. I guess in this world, bodies are called shells, I've noticed. The kelp forest reaches the water surface, surrounded by little creatures and the smell of river plants. You crouch by the bank and draw handfuls of water. Well, I've at least rinsed off. Put on my clothes. Fish trap tomorrow or later. So, I'll go ahead and stop it here. Seems like a good place to stop. So yeah, this is Roadwarden. This is just scratching the surface. Last time I did make it just a little farther. Obviously there's more stuff going on. I do remember at one point something maybe asked me to make a choice that I did not want to make. So I don't know if we'll encounter that tomorrow. Well, tomorrow. I say tomorrow like I'm actually going to stream. I'm probably not going to stream tomorrow. But yeah, I will definitely be continuing this one because I definitely want to know what happens. I want to get farther than just this. I want to see some of the crazy stuff, because I know there is some. But, alright, thanks guys for joining, and have a good night. Bye!